So the FRS and BRZ are in dire need of oil changes, but we got to take care of this FRS because I haven't washed it since we got back from our last track event. So it is absolutely filthy, and the front is covered in bug guts and tire marks. So we need to clean this thing off, and then we can worry about changing the oil on the cars. I sprayed down all of the tire marks with this Mother's R3 racing rubber remover, and now I'm just gonna take this sponge here and let me find a good spot here. You can see these here. I just wipe it off and it just goes away super easy. So if you see a lot of tire marks after track days and such and you want to get rid of those really easy, grab yourself a bottle of that. I get a lot of people asking me what kind of oil I use. Honestly, I don't think it's super important what brand oil you're using, whether it's Motul, Mobil 1, Valvoline, Redline, or whatever. As long as it's a high quality oil, you're usually not gonna see a big difference. I think the most important thing is focusing on making sure you're changing the oil frequently and within the recommended time frame. I think it's 5,000 or 6,000 miles or every 6 months, whatever comes first. For this car, since I'm tracking it, I usually change it every couple of events, but on my other cars, I usually stick to the 5,000 mile range. Now, personally, I use Pennzoil Platinum 5W30 on this car. I run 5W30 instead of the OW20 because it holds up a lot better to the heat and abuse that this car sees out on the track, and it's been rock solid. I also run a dimple magnetic oil drain plug on this car. It has a super strong magnet, so chances are when I go to take this off, it's gonna stick to the oil pan, and I'm probably gonna get some oil all over myself, but it does definitely do a good job of collecting as much of the little metal bits as possible. But we're gonna be running something a little bit different over on the GR86. Let me finish this up for you guys, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I should probably grab a paper towel. Oh, yep, never fails. Good thing I wore white. Oil's starting to drip now, so we're just gonna wipe this down and reinstall the plug with a new gasket. Wipe everything down as best as I can. I also like to stick to the OEM Subaru Oil Filters. So I usually just buy a good amount of these and keep them stockpiled. For those wondering if there's anything special that I need to do because I'm running an oil cooler, nope. There is some oil obviously that's gonna stay in the oil cooler, but with frequent oil changes, you don't really have to worry about it. It's all going to mix with the new fluid. And then when you go to change it out, you won't have to worry about it really. Some people take their oil cooler off and dump it, but it's really not worth the hassle. On the GR86, we are going to get rid of the OEM drain plug and replace it with a Fumoto Oil Drain Valve. If you guys aren't familiar with this, it essentially eliminates having to remove and reinstall the drain plug every time you do an oil change. Instead, all you have to do is open up the valve using this lever, let the oil drain out, and once it's done draining, close the valve, and that's it. It's a lot cleaner, easy to use, and super convenient. Now, there are some skeptics out there that think that somehow this valve is going to fail, or it's going to accidentally open up and dump your oil out while you're driving and blow your engine, and that's just simply not true. There's fail-safes built in, and it includes a clip that locks the lever in place to prevent that from happening. We also have some Eneos OW20 oil. We're sticking with the OW20 because this isn't going to be a dedicated track car. And of course, we have a brand new OEM oil filter as well. This engine utilizes the same filter as the WRX. I'll include that part number down below and a link to the Fumoto Oil Drain Valve if you guys are interested. So let's go ahead and drain the oil in the GR86 and get this Fumoto Oil Drain Valve installed. For the second gen, they've added this cover on the skid plate for the oil drain plug, so that's nice. The previous gen didn't have that. Got that removed. And now the oil drain plug is a 17 mil. So we will remove this. The oil has slowed down to a drip, so we're gonna wipe off the oil pan and install the Fumoto valve. It just threads in just like the oil drain plug. Make sure the surface is nice and clean. And we'll get it hand tight for now. And then you wanna torque this to 15 foot-pounds, or about 1/8 of a turn once you have it hand tight. And you want to tighten it using the square body here, and make sure not to tighten it using the kind of nut insert or the nipple here. You'll strip the threads on the valve. Make sure you are using the body here and not this. So I'll just get a wrench on here and tighten it another 1/8 of a turn. That should be good. I've got the valve installed. I want to show you guys why it's nearly impossible for this valve to accidentally open up. Right now it's in the closed position. If I open it up, you'll see on this side there is a recess right here. So when this is in the closed position, it's locked in that recess, and there's a spring holding it down into place so that it can't open up. On top of that, we've got a plastic clip that locks into place and blocks the path for the lever to go up and into the open position. And like I said, making this nearly impossible to accidentally open. Another concern that some people have is they're worried it sits too low and it's gonna hit something on the road and damage the oil pan or completely break off. And in reality, it actually doesn't sit that much lower than the OEM drain plug. You can see that it sits above the skid pan still, and if you're hitting that with something, you're probably gonna hit this part of the frame, the skid pan, the header, the oil pan itself, and cause a ton of damage. So really, it shouldn't be a big issue. I think the biggest issue I see with these valves is people not tightening them enough and a leak developing underneath the washer, and all they have to do is tighten the valve up and the leak goes away. So I don't have any gripes with this. It does the job really well, and like I said, it's convenient. We'll get this old filter off. Make sure you wipe this area off and don't get any of the dirt and grime that's built up on the outer side into the actual oil system. Then we can thread on the new filter. This car takes 5.3 quarts, so we'll start out with 5 quarts, and then we'll take a look at the dipstick and add more as necessary. After 5 quarts, we'll check the dipstick. Make sure you don't have any RTV on it. Just kidding, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Looks like we are a little bit under the max line, so we'll fill it up just a bit more and double check. Add in just a bit more. And that should be good. Once the oil's filled, turn the car on, let it run for a little bit, and then turn it off and let it sit for a few minutes for the oil to settle, and double check that dipstick. You may need to add a little bit more oil as it filled up in the filter. I know I made that joke about the RTV earlier, but I have had a lot of requests to do a video on everything I know about it and everything I can find. So if you guys are interested in a video about the whole RTV debacle, comment down below. Let me know what you guys want to know, and who knows, maybe I'll even drop the pan to see if I can find any RTV. Now, if you guys enjoyed the video today, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and if you're interested in picking up a Fumoto oil drain valve for yourself, the link is down in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.